Thanks for sticking around. For those just joining us, expecting the women's final, where due to some pretty incredible windy conditions, we'll just be providing bits and pieces of that to you while the men's semi concludes on the field next to it. It is Kaos against Manly in the women's final, and they'll be struggling through this win. And the men on the other side have now finished their second spirit time out of the game, and we'll head back to them in a moment as they restart play. They've had a chat, clarified the rules. The rules are, once time cap is hit, 20 minutes afterwards, that's the hard time cap, they will finish the point and complete it. Dan Clinton, our other co-commentator here, was in that spirit timeout, or is next to it. Can you provide us some insight into what was happening?
Yeah, they were just trying to figure out how this game is going to end. At this stage, Crank still have an opportunity to win, rather not win. I've got wind on the brain. They still have an opportunity to win here, so I believe they're going to play on, and I don't blame either side. I don't think the Mudlarks are really going to begrudge Crank for having a crack here. Matt Hill, however, did have a good point. He said, we've had half an hour of trying, and we're still continuing. But at hard cap, which is in not very long at all, this is going to be taken out of Crank's hands, and it will be game over regardless.
It's also worth noting that 60+ km/h winds falls into the category as a Category 3 cyclone, according to Hillary Holmes. So this is a Category 3 cyclone we're dealing with right now.
I don't think that's right, guys.
It's the word from the Bureau of Meteorology correspondent.
I'm going to take that one with a grain of salt. So Geelong hustling down, bit of defence. Tim Booth taking his time. I think Tim Booth is kind of, I think he's happy to see the result go as it sits. His team, his younger team, they still wanted to fight. We see all the players in the 10 metres between the right hands in the near side sideline.
What even is that throw?
Yeah, what are we doing here? Like, at the end of the day, like, why are we still here?
It makes you question your life and your decisions that
really
you've made up to this
my own
point.
mortality while watching this game.
These men need to take a leaf out of the women's book. The women behind us in their final, quick score, have already put one on the board. They've been playing for a total of about 2.5 minutes, and they're 1-0 up.
They're having no issues over there. No issues at all. I believe that's the that's a women's final over there.
Oh, lady with the grab. And the hook. Yeah. Oh, that might work. Sophie Bell! Sophie! She does leave her feet, Sophie Bell.
So close. And Bell's going to go on the mark. Tim Booth against the window washing Bell. Booth goes with the backhand. It is incomplete. So Matt Hill's going to pick it up and go with the forehand. That's blocked. And the throw out of bounds. Yeah, the women's final has started behind us. So I'm not sure what that does to our coverage, but I don't think it's good news.
We will swing around as soon as this men's one finishes. And we'll try and give you updates so we can. Manly have jumped out to 1-0 against Kaos, who are over from Perth.
Matt Hill leaning slightly as he walks to the spot, and he calls double team, and calls double team again.
Calls timeout, in fact.
Yeah, I think he's going to call a violation. So Matt Hill will retain the disc. Looks like it comes in on 0. And Hill goes with a backhand that'll go back to him, mostly. Tim Booth picking it up again.
We have passed the point of absurdity now.
Well, that is the definition of insanity, doing the same things over and over again and expecting a different result. It has been the same thing.
Oh, so foul with the huge smackdown D.
Oh, getting her hands up and in the way.
Good, Sophie. Get in it.
It's interesting.
Oh, good.
Matt Hill shaking his head. He's going to call timeout here. This was mentioned. He has 2 timeouts remaining. And he was thinking maybe they just call timeout over and over again until hardcat goes.
He actually went to drop the disc on the ground there and the wind pushed it away. So those are the conditions that we're dealing with.
Well,
what does he say to his team?
Says congratulations on getting through to the final, guys. Let's go get some heavier discs.
Yeah, weighted frisbees maybe, that's what they do.
I remember when I first started playing, I got conned by one of those websites, like disc store or something, and they had a ultra high wind frisbee, which was 210 grams. So the traditional 175. Impossible to throw. The lip was so big.
All right, we're going to take a quick break and we'll see what happens out of these timeouts.
Oh. Rex wants us to do women's.
I'm not commentating it, so
So, here we have the women. It is Manly and Kaos battling the same conditions that have been affecting the men's game. And we can just tell you now, the men are shaking hands. They're done. They're wrapped up. They're finished. Dan, what happened? What's going on over there?
Yeah, they're just going to call it. They're thrown in the towel. It's all over. It's done with. We've seen a result. The Mudlarks have gritted it out. And they've beat Crank in possibly the most absurd weather we've ever seen. Thank you for joining us, guys. Thank you for toughing it out. We're going to swing over to the women's final.
Don't go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere at all.
It'll actually just stay on this stream, so don't even need to switch out of your browser if you're joining us. The women's match is continuing, and they're looking to play through the hands. And that's a turnover, and they'll bring it back up. Are the men going to have a final? Are you leaving? You can stick around if you want. As much as you love these conditions. So, I'm now joined in the box by Hillary as we get the privilege, the pleasure, and the honour of watching this women's final, coming to you live from Division 2 Australian Ultimate Championships.
Max, I've been following the weather ever so closely today and all weekend. It's been at the tip of our tongues for the entire tournament. The wind has not ceased. In fact, today it has only increased. It's steadfast. It is not letting go. We're dealing with 60-kilometre winds per hour. That's a Category 3 in a cyclone. But these women, they elected to continue to play.
They did indeed. It was a bold and brave move, and they've said, look, we can do it. We have faith in our abilities.
Absolutely, and we saw that earlier. Both teams coming into the final undefeated. Kaos beating Surge to make it to the finals. Manly taking it 15-0 against Sugar Magnolias in their semis.
And we see Sarah Wentworth come down with it. Couple of hands got underneath it, bobbled up. Possession was unclear. And now Manly have jumped out to a 2-0 lead. The struggles that other teams have had scoring in these conditions don't seem to be troubling Manly, or not nearly as much, I should say.
What's the current score now here, Max?
It's 2-0 Manly to Kaos. They've jumped out to an early lead.
Kaos exceeding expectations. They were only aiming for top 8 this year. They've made it into the finals. They're just stoked to be here, regardless of the outcome. In these type of conditions, yeah, it's anyone's game. You
really
don't know what's
is.
going to happen.
The conditions are a real leveler. We've found so far this weekend. It takes away teams' opportunities to exploit maybe areas where they would have an advantage over the other team, and it just ends up often turning into a real territory-based, position-based game. Just looking at these rosters, you'd have to say the big throwers on this Manly team may just be able to outgun the Kaos lineup. But of course, you never know in these conditions. We saw in the men's final, neither team really able to play much offense. Just hucking it backwards and forwards.
In the men's semi-final.
Apologies indeed, the men's semi-final.
Max, tell me a bit about Manly team, because they've got some seriously experienced players on there.
They do. It's actually one of the longest running clubs in the country, which is pretty impressive. They sent their first outfit to a Nationals back in 2002. So here we are 16 years later, and they're in the finals of Division 2, which is pretty impressive. They haven't been at Nationals every single year, but they continue to come back. And we see them being led this weekend by Di Warman, Nikki Shires and Sarah Wentworth, the powerhouse trio.
And that powerhouse trio, they've actually established a women's ultimate league in Manly. I was chatting to one of their teammates earlier, and she was saying that league has helped develop so many skills, and in fact the team as well, across the board.
And you see it reflected here, because as much as we talk about those top 3, I mean, they're a team that relies on everybody on their roster to contribute.
That's right, Dan. The experienced players, they bring stability, but it's those intermediate players who come through, who actually help bring the team together. Without them, you can't just lead a team with the top 3 players. You need everyone on the ball.
Kaos opting for the zone defense. Good choice in tricky conditions like these. And Manly likewise doing the same, and we see the wind get under that one.
Tough conditions. I'm glad I'm not playing here today. But these ladies, they just wanted to keep going. They're hungry for the disc. They're just excited to be out there.
Yvonne Hayes so far piloting the Manly offense, picking up the disc after every turn. We'll see if she does the same as this one rolls out the side.
I was talking to Kaos's captain earlier, Sabrina Morrow, and a few other players. They are looking to just continue what they have been doing throughout the entire tournament, and that's playing some short, sharp, offensive action and then bringing out a zone. Because in these conditions, there's not much you can do except hold down the fort.
You gotta grit your teeth and fight through it. That was a forehand, in case you're wondering. That was a forehand. It flipped over 2 or 3 times on the way out the side. My word.
My word indeed, Dan. Max.
Yeah, it's tricky. Not jealous of the players out there one bit. Much more comfortable sitting down. It's not often that I watch a frisbee match and don't wish a little bit that I could be on the field, but today is definitely one of those days.
That's true. I'm not sure I could even play in these games.
And they reach for the end zone, and Yvonne Hayes does well. Gets 2 hands to it. And it'll be brought up by Warman. Plenty of length, plenty of power, plenty of experience. See whether that can help her cut through the breeze. Perhaps not.
Warman gave some words of advice to her team earlier on, saying it's not us against the other team, it's us against the wind.
It really is.
You're not going to be able to beat this wind, but you can certainly try and work your best with it, regardless of the outcome. And as we see, that's 2 turnovers. Any disc that goes up into the air at the moment is just heading straight for the beach.
As we look off across this beautiful complex here in Fairy Meadow, doesn't look like any other games are persisting. All the other teams have called it a day and said, hey, it's not worth it. But at the pointy end of the division, the women are gritting their teeth and pushing through. They want a result. They've put in the hard yards, and at this end of the tournament, they say it's worth it. As Kaos immediately look to the end zone, they have a player underneath it, but it's sailed out the side by the look of it. It's a nice looking throw out of the hand. That lefty backhand may well prove crucial. It'll be a great advantage to have, whereas other teams may only have the forehand down that side. Over the top, knifing into the turf.
We'll have Sabrina Morrow picking up the disc. She's been a powerhouse for Kaos lately. She's been absolutely fabulous, but unfortunately, that just goes straight into another player of Manly. The men on the other side of the field streaming down trying to get the disc before it heads into the swamp. That's the type of conditions here we're dealing with.
It's nigh on impossible. It's farcical in some ways, but Di Warman has no fear and shoots the backhand.
I was talking to Jessica Ho, one of the key defenders for Kaos earlier. I was asking her about her 3-3-1 zone because they pulled that out in their previous game for 9 out of 10 of the plays. They didn't really stop. And she was saying the key to it was just communication. Their entire team, they were just chatting, they were yelling, they were communicating. It was a well-oiled machine. They really had it down pat. We'll see if they can put it out here today. The conditions are just, it's like anything goes at the moment. And right now, anything is going. Manly putting out a zone. That's the only option you would put out right now.
Without a doubt. There's just absolutely no point attempting single coverage.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, I don't need that.
Manly coming back in with the disc now. Or is it Kaos?
It's Kaos with the disc, I believe. No, it is Manly. They were just simply being of assistance, bringing the disc back as it sailed away.
So well-spirited.
And Warman with the backhand over the top. It goes through a couple of pairs of different hands before it gets to the turf, and Kaos look to move it quickly. About 2 meters out, this is a great opportunity for Manly. Warman with the disc, 1 meter out, goes sideways. She looks forward, doesn't have a lot of options for her. Shoots the backhand, sits up, player underneath it, and that's a goal. That's 3-0. Manly racing out to a quick lead.
Max, we saw earlier, they took it 15-0 to Sugar Mags. Do you think we're going to see a similar scoreline here?
Look, Kaos is a class outfit, and in conditions like this, it's really difficult to predict any individual point. But you'd have to say on paper, Manly are the favourites. They're just so good, have so much experience and so much talent. It'd be difficult to stop them. A bit of a crowd's gathering on the sideline as the other games wrap up. People coming to watch, see these teams do battle with each other and with the conditions.
Both teams came into this undefeated, but Manly, they actually qualified for Div 1 Nats, but elected not to go and decided to come here instead.
Yeah, that's a controversial decision, to be honest. I know it's been the subject of much discussion in the ultimate community, the decision to opt down.
Particularly with such experienced players, do you think that they're trying to gain too much with such a decision, moving to Div 2 instead of taking the Div 1 option?
I don't want to criticise any individual team. I don't think that's productive, but I think looking at the structure at the moment that allows teams to opt down and end up with a 10-team Division 1 Women's Nationals needs to be rethought and re-examined.
That was a pretty good pull considering the wind.
Yeah, Shire's unleashing her backhand down this high side.
It landed in the middle of the field. They're setting up a zone already.
Kaos finding not a lot of options with an absolutely wild mark. And they shoot long.
Delate sending it long. Oh, Kaos!
What a
Pick
take!
it up!
What a take! And will not be rewarded with anything more. As Shires goes the other way. She has players underneath it. Lanny Toke in hot pursuit. Can't reel it in. And they go back. They say return to sender. What
And
you can
Kaos!
do, we can do better.
Kristen Chai picks it up.
And she examines her options and the pace slows down just for a moment.
She's on the tricky end of that field. You don't want to be down that side. That's the hardest part because that's where the wind is blowing at the moment.
Oh, Nikki Shire's backhand will go straight through the legs of the defender and roll all its way into the end zone.
This is actually a pretty good option for Manly now. They've got Kaos right in a position where they can easily turn it over. Kaos need to be really solid with their passes at the moment. They're in a danger zone here.
In the words of Kenny Loggins, welcome to the danger zone.
Oh no.
The wind,
It was a good 1-2 pass.
even the simplest of throws, the most regulation of catches normally,
But it was the story of the day, the wind.
become dicey in these conditions, as you say, Hillary. The wind just so tough. So difficult for these players to complete passes. Doesn't give you much hope when a player like Nikki Shires is struggling to throw it downfield. For us mere mortals, we can only sit here and shake our heads and be glad that we're not out there.
Oh yeah. I'm so glad I'm not playing right now.
Amy Chang going wild on the mark, the jumping jack defense.
Amy, this is her first season with Manly. A new recruit, but she's been playing Frisbee for a number of years. She's just excited to be here.
Oh, and with heavy contact on Chang on the mark and the follow through from that throw. Looks like she may have gotten a hand or an arm to the face up after the throw. We've got a signal for the medics perhaps. She doesn't look happy and we see it again. Chang jumps in to try and put pressure on the throw. And the follow through from the big wind up and release right in the face, unfortunately.
That's not what we want to see. We want to, I mean, it's tricky because...
Watch as Chang lunges in, reaching with the right hand to stop the throw. And in the end, cops it full in the face. And she is sitting up now, which is a good sign.
The challenge is, I mean, we're a non-contact sport, but when you want to get as close as you possibly can, you know, a disc space away, to put as much pressure on the mark, sometimes people's arm widths just get in the way of the reach, don't they?
When you're dealing with conditions like this, as the thrower, often you're not thinking about what else is happening. You're just gritting your teeth, head down, gripping it and ripping it. And that may have been the case there, not aware that Chang was coming across from her blind side.
Speaking of grinning and just dealing with it, Di Werman, captain of Manly, she gave all of her teammates little wristbands before the game saying, guys, you're getting this, but you just need to suck it up. So every time you look at your wristband, just suck it up and deal with this weather. I don't want to hear any complaints. We know it's windy. We continue to talk about it. It's not going to change. It's not going to stop. So just deal with it, adapt. And I think that's the only thing that you can really say to a team right now, because anything you put out there, it's going to be a tough slog. You just have to grin and bear it. If you chose to play, and these ladies did, you just got to work through it.
That's right. If you want the glory of winning this championship, you're going to have to earn it the hard way. And that's going to be by playing a full 80 minutes of ultimate in some of the toughest conditions around. Shy is literally centimeters from the end zone. Can't complete the pass. She attempted the forehand. As we've spoken about before, those 1 and 2 meter forehands can be very difficult. And Wentworth blocks that one and immediately looks deep. Shy sizes her options up. Goes the flick underneath, but it doesn't complete.
In any other game, she would be sending that right into the end zone.
Unfortunately, Hillary, this is not any other game. These conditions are not any other conditions. This is gale force winds as we see that forehand end up upside down.
This is the ultimate of ultimate conditions. People who don't play the sport always ask me, do you play when it's windy? Because how do you throw a disc in this condition?
Oh, the
And
answer is not easily, as we can see out there now.
Kaos sending the disc up, streaming out, and we've got other Perth players chasing down the disc. The sideline's in it. The problem now is converting points in these conditions is just going to be back and forth, back and forth. We see a nice over-the-top throw. That was actually a good one. It was into space. Kaos picking it up again, taking it to the line. But they're in the danger zone. If they turn it over here, which they have, Manly now have an easy opportunity to get it in. Beautiful throw, swing, just off the tip of another Manly player. Kaos walking it back up. Will they get it through? We've only seen 2 passes successfully through this zone. That's a really nice throw through the cup. Just couldn't quite convert it. And Kaos get it back. And the sideline is cheering. Tapping it in. Big huck from Kaos. That's actually a good look. You want to send it long regardless of whether the Manly gets it. Oh, and a big horizontal layout. Back to Kaos. They've got plenty of space. Plenty. Nice, beautiful movement. And they get the first point on the board! Kaos! They're in it! Joining me right now is Dan Clinton. Dan, you've been watching this game so far. What have you seen? Sorry, Dan, let me just unmute you because everyone loves to hear your voice. I really want to get your perspective on this game.
Well, what I've seen is Nikki Shires has still got it.
She still got it.
She never lost it. That's for sure.
Maybe it's Maybelline. Maybe it's Nikki Shires.
It was good for the Kaos to get on the board there.
That was beautiful offense actually. And those Kaos ladies had some really nice throws there. Not wobbly whatsoever. Very impressive. They're a team, they're very close, traveling from Perth. They were so excited when they made it into the final. They were just happy that they'd made it. They'd beaten top 8 and they'd well and truly exceeded their expectations.
Haven't they ever, making it all the way to the finals now?
In a game like this, I'd be happy for second with these types of conditions. It's going to be a low-scoring game. You're not sure what's going to happen. You just got to go out there and have fun, don't you, Dan?
Well, that's what Frisbee's all about at the end of the day. Would you like a nut, Hillary?
Dan, are you hungry? Hungry for more Frisbee?
Not in this wind.
As we see Kaos get the block. Manly putting on his own, and you're just putting it up too high out of that hand, too much angle. It's really hard. You know, these ladies, I watched them warm up. They were just throwing really nice short passes. Kaos with the hand block, giving themselves another opportunity to get on the board. They're still in a danger zone though, aren't they?
They need to get it away from their own end zone.
They do. I think they just need to huck it and then play D. As you've said in many games before, huck it, play D down there. And with this type of weather, you're likely to get a turnover. It's just a matter of time. It no longer becomes about skill, it's just time. It's when Mother Nature is going to play its biggest point. Sorensen sends it towards the beach.
Making use of a big lefty backhand that may well be an important asset this match.
Max, you've just joined us from a little break. Do you have any insight into what you would be doing right
More
now
of
if you were
that.
Chaos? Yeah,
Oh.
more of the down the line cuts.
Warman to Shires, that's a combination you'll want. And from a Chaos perspective, we've spoken about Manly's big three. They'll have to find a way to contain them. I mean, with players of that class, you can never really fully shut them out. You've got to try to limit the damage that they're doing. Stop them throwing to each other, preferably get them downfield where their throwing prowess is a little less important, and try and get the disc into the hands of some of the newer, younger, less experienced Manly players and make them make the difficult shots in these difficult conditions.
Warman's going to look to huck this, send the pull upwind. Max, as a handler, how do you do that?
Grip it and rip it. Literally, you've just got to throw it as hard as you can, as many revolutions as you can. Plenty of inside out. Probably want to start on the high side as well, so close to camera as the wind blows away from us. And try and keep it as low as you can. We've got a
call on the field. I think they're...
Simon Farrow, the tournament director, is walking on, which suggests, and he's accompanied by Steve Baker, head game advisor for the tournament, which suggests there may be some concerns to do with the viability of continuing this match. Is there, if there's any value in doing so, etc. Simon will speak to the two captains of the team, presumably asking what they want to do. As Nikki Shires takes a phone call, so she's clearly got business to conduct. Maybe she's got some connections, can arrange some different weather, if she can.
She talking to the assistant of Mother Nature saying, switch her off.
Yeah, much
Can
appreciated.
We only need, 40 more minutes.
Yeah, give us 40 minutes of calm weather, we'll be very happy. Not sure if she can do that though. I mean, it's Nikki Shires, there's not much she can't do. That may be one of the things though that she can't.
It's a tough ask.
From what I understand earlier, when I was speaking to Hannah Monty, one of the other game advisors, unless the players feel unsafe or any of the crew involved in putting on the game feel unsafe, I'm not sure if they are actually willing to call off the games, considering it's a national tournament. But having said that, things may have changed. Simon Farrow, also the newly elected AFTA president, I guess. It's up to him to make the rules, so...
Well, it's up to him to make the call. At the end of the day, it's everyone's safety that's paramount. And these women, they chose to continue playing. They said, wind isn't going to stop us. Wind, hail, rain, fire.
They'll do it all. And to be perfectly honest, it's 4-1. They've scored 5 points in 40 minutes.
That's incredible.
They're doing a whole lot better than the lads did
That's right.
in the semi-final, where we were getting 20, 25-minute points.
The wind has died down, still incredibly strong, but I'm going to just check my stats right now, my weather stats.
It definitely feels like it's just a touch more manageable, doesn't it?
It absolutely does.
It's now just a very strong wind as opposed to a gale or
So
tropical cyclone.
Bureau of Meteorology is now reporting that it's a gentle 46 kilometers per hour.
Ah, gentle, yes.
The same conditions we started with on Friday morning, where we thought it couldn't get any windier, but we were wrong, weren't
That's
we?
right. You know, playing through a cyclone gives you a bit of perspective on things. It makes you think that this is a light breeze and totally manageable.
Absolutely.
So the conversation's finished. Steve Baker and Simon Farrow remain on the field talking to each other, and the two teams return to their huddles. Presumably, captains taking back the message of the tournament organising committee, getting their input perhaps. Not sure if it's a question of making a decision or planning for the future. Simon Farrow on the phone, talking to someone.
Is it Mother Nature? Is he saying, please, woman?
Do you know who they're talking to on the phone? So the concern still is whether it's safe to play in these conditions. Simon Farrow, I believe, on the phone to Anna Haynes, the AFDA National Event Manager, for her input. We may take this opportunity to have a quick break while the players sort things out. We'll try and get the hot goss, the inside word on what's happening, and come back to you. So welcome back. Thanks for sticking around in some pretty tough conditions. The word is there were concerns about whether this game was too dangerous to continue, especially with man defense and the preference for hucking it long continuously. There was concerns for the safety of the cup, receiving a disc to the face or something of the like. So the agreement has been, the two captains of each team said, we'll stick to single coverage defense from here on out and we'll continue to play, hoping that will deal with some of the safety concerns for the players, but also give them a result. The alternative was to call the game at this point and provide, and give the win to Manly, as they currently lead 4-1. Not surprisingly, Kaos wasn't supportive of that idea. Didn't want to give up that easily, despite the deficit they have in this game already. So it's 4-1 to Manly. They'll continue to play, but there's been a captain's agreement that they'll stick to match single coverage defense.
In normal conditions, Max, a 4-1 lead is really nothing before the half, but with the wind like this, that's a phenomenal lead. It's going to be tough to close the gap.
It's definitely a big hole to dig yourself out of. Kaos have got all the work to do. They've got a big uphill battle. Having said that, match defense definitely opens the door for them a little bit.
That's right. Kaos, they have really strong communication amongst their team. They've been playing together for a number of years now. We'll see how this works. We were both saying at the beginning of the game it would be a silly option to take single coverage. You wouldn't want to do it, but for the safety of the players, we have to now, don't we?
We do, that's what they've agreed, and they will do that. As Hayes goes over the top with the forehand just out in front of Wentworth. It's a difficult throw to get that one to sit with the wind coming across her from her left shoulder to her right. Kaos opting for a vertical stack with 3 handlers back. And we'll throw a bit of a desperation huck. Not a whole lot down there, but it will roll and gain them some meters.
When you have to play single coverage, a vertical stack is your option.
Definitely in wind.
You don't want to go into a horror, as we heard in previous games. A horror actually shuts down more of the opportunities because when you're throwing in a horror, you have to throw across the field. In these conditions, that's really hard.
And Di Warman sees Wentworth going long and likes it. Wentworth goes up strong, comes down with it. About 2 meters out on this near side. Forehand into traffic. Great defense from the Kaos player.
Great block from that woman.
Kylie O'Brien not able to hold on. And Kaos with the big backhand. It seems despite changing the defensive tactics, committing to a single coverage option, the style hasn't changed much in terms of offense. They're still looking for the early huck. They're still playing territory.
This isn't bad though. Kaos, they're on defense, but Manly has to lead the disc the full length of the field now. Beautiful leading flick.
Warman showing her class. Everyone else struggling to get out backhands in these conditions. Warman throws a 30-meter forehand, flat as anything the whole way. And O'Brien puts some body on, puts the big arm across the shoulder, but it's not enough to deny possession to Sabrina Morrow. And now they go deep again, and it pops up. For a moment there, you thought the wind had given them a lifeline. But in the end, it'll be another opportunity for Manly with the disc. Warman again will initiate play. She's marked by Chang. Apologies, she's marked by O.
Warman looking for a big huck.
Wentworth starting that play, goes again. She has her player streaming deep. Sarah Ann Lynn.
Couldn't rein it in though.
It generated plenty of separation. And now Manly with a short field to work with, looking to move it quickly before the defense has a chance. Warman sizes her options, goes again. Wentworth in the vicinity. Can she clean it up? Oh, I thought she got a hand on that. And she may well have, but not enough to hold it.
We had 2 Kaos defenders in the end zone.
It just dropped out of the sky like a stone. Wentworth doing well to react as well as she did and get down to it. It fell late. And Kaos, again, struggling out of that same position. Morrow doing the hard work. Hayes underneath. She goes to Wentworth and through the breadbasket. 2 in a row through the hands of...
That's 2 missed opportunities, Max.
It is, and it's from a player that they usually rely on, usually so safe. Uncharacteristic errors. And not ones that they can really afford. They want to take these short field opportunities when they have them. Kaos do nicely to get it to this high near sideline. Delate. Bit of body on that one. No call though. Hayes goes the backhand. Out in space, but that outside in backhand difficult because of the direction of the wind coming left to right across Hayes' body as she throws that. The wind is coming away from the camera. We'll push it up and over, making it difficult to read. Kaos opting for the 3-handler back still option. I guess it's more reset options for the thrower.
It's tricky because you need to have all of these options, but as we're seeing right now, no one was making the right opportunity. They weren't creating the good up the line cuts.
It just felt a little bit chaotic. Too many cutters going at once into the same space, getting in each other's way as Warman shoots to the end zone and completes. I'd almost anticipated that one going out the sideline as so many had before, but Lainey Toke didn't. She had faith in the thrower, had faith in the throw, and brings it down nicely. And that takes it to 5. 5-1 to Manly.
Hi guys, just a bit of an update on the weather. 77.8 kilometre per hour wind gusts, Port Kembla, which is, you know, a few kilometres down the road. And it's gusting, that's the gust, and it's blowing 55.5 kilometres per hour at the moment.
Incredible.
78.
77.8.
77.8 kilometres an hour. That's incredible.
Thank you, Dan.
I know there have been
Weather
times
update.
where I've been struggling to stay standing still, let alone throw forehands.
We've certainly been holding down the fort, holding our table, all of the equipment, our TV crew. They've been marching hard, holding the cameras steady to get the stream.
Yeah,
They've been
holding
doing an
down
incredible
the fort,
job.
it's not a metaphor. It's quite
It is-
literally what we're having
We are
to do at this
quite
stage.
literally holding down the fort. Manly holding down the fort, playing incredible ultimate in incredible conditions.
Yeah, credit to them, showing their class. As we said, 5 goals in 55 minutes. No mean feat in tough conditions like these. And it'll be Nikki Shires to pull one of the biggest backhands in women's ultimate in Australia. And it'll be put to the test to this point.
A phenomenal player. Do you know much about her experience in the ultimate world, Max?
Oh, she's done everything. Everything there is to do, she's done it. She's been around the hills and Manly scene in Sydney a long time and played a lot of frisbee. Pulled on the green and gold more times than I know.
Kaos looking for an option, just didn't get it. The wind. You're scared when you have the disc as well. You want to throw it, but you're never sure what's going to happen when you release from your hand, because even whatever angle that you release it at, it can just fly away.
As you see there, despite their best efforts, out the sideline. And they bring it back. It's Jessica Ho to pick up. I haven't seen a lot of her so far this game. She looks to swing to the high side. Can't complete the pass. and Manly get another shot. Manly also operating out of a vertical. They're generally having 2 back rather than the 3 that Kaos have opted for many times.
Good back up there from Manly. With so many experienced players on your team, the Manly intermediate players and the rookies, they have such a great leadership group of people.
78.
We're just experiencing some
77.8 km/h gusts. Doesn't seem to quite capture it.
It's tough to capture it by video. On the footage, it doesn't look as windy as it is, but believe me, it is tough, it is windy. People are struggling to stand up. I don't know how these ladies are throwing a disc in this condition.
And a stray disc finds its way onto the field. And it'll be cleared off as play resumes. And I'm not sure if we got that on camera, but it has ended up in the swamp on the other side.
Kaos in a really, really tough position here. They just need to huck it. That's what they try to do. It's out on the sideline. Will it be brought back in where it was? Did it go out immediately? And I believe it will. As I was saying before, there's something to be said to have some experienced players on your team. It really helps to boost the confidence of the other players. In conditions like this as well, experience really counts.
It does. Especially when your team's struggling to string passes together. Having some people that have been there before and done it before is a real steadying influence.
That stability and that composure is paramount. You need someone to just settle you, settle your team. And that's what we're seeing here today from Manly.
In particular, Nikki Shires leading by example in terms of not giving up, continuing to take aggressive options, no matter how difficult they seem and how hopeless the situation appears.
Hopeless conditions, incredible ultimate. Just huck it. Kaos need to huck it and they convert a pass. Oh, through the hands of Sorensen. Back to Manly. Shires will take it yet again. Will she just drop it into the end zone? Just flick and release.
She had Laura House. Well, that's who she was looking for, but not able to find her. A little short on the throw.
The women doing incredibly well, having only been playing man. They can't do zone. It's incredible just to see them move it up the field.
Yeah, they've agreed to only play single coverage. It was a captain's agreement to deal with safety concerns for the cup when they were playing zone. Oh, safety concerns for players who are marking Nikki Shires.
Bowling women over.
Bundles into Kristen Shy. Getting a bit of biff, bringing it back. But no hard feelings, and play will restart. And the forehand goes up, gets a hand to it, almost gives it a second life. As she hits the back edge, the trailing edge as it flies past her, does Camilla Sorensen.
Thank you again to a Sublime player who's been absolutely
invaluable in fetching frisbees.
Yeah, that's right. He's only on that sideline to catch the disc. His only job is to stop it from ending up in the swamp. And we thank you for your efforts. And and your commitment to your fellow Perth team. Kaos getting, Manly getting the block. We'll have Adelaide going to the disc this time. What's she looking for? Crossfield flick!
Cannot connect, it's short as it finds its way to the turf. An immediate response, the big lefty backhand. We spoke about Sorensen's lefty. It's a real advantage in tough conditions to be able to throw the backhand as opposed to the flick. And she makes some good meters there. We did see earlier today in the men's semi-final a game draw out so long that both teams just agreed to call it quits, neither able to convert possession into a goal. And we see Sorensen again immediately pick up and huck. No hesitation. Didn't care if there was a player there or not. Didn't care if there was a receiver in the vicinity.
These teams, they've only moved bare meters, and yet we've been watching this point for over 10 minutes now.
Some may call this style of Frisbee cynical or negative. Not I. Not I. I call this tactical.
Tactical? In what way, Max?
Well, it's just the only option, really. They just have to. There's so little other option. It's so difficult to complete passes that your only hope is for a turnover on the doorstep of the end zone and then attempt to complete a 1 meter flip for a goal.
Sorensen has the disc in her hand. She's looking to the end zone. Just into a crowd of Manly players.
And Shires returns the favour. Says return to sender on that throw. And she may have caught her defender. We can also announce that on the men's side of the division, they've agreed, the Geelong Mudlarks have agreed that they will be co-champions with Fat Chili. No men's final.
Guys.
Yeah, congratulations to both teams. No final will be played.
Congratulations just making it into the final with these types of conditions. It was anyone's game.
Yeah, look, to be honest, it's a bit soft. Both of them fully capable of playing.
Absolutely. We're out here filming, commentating.
The women are out here playing, and the guys are going to put their feet up and have a beer. That's
right. The women have elected to play and continue on even after the tournament directors said it's getting really dangerous, guys. What do you want to do? They said no. We want to keep playing. We love this game. We are hungry for the disc. We're not going to let it go. And here, that's what we're seeing. We're seeing some really great offense here from Kaos right now.
And that one, and you see the wind get underneath it. It's bobbled and they lose about 30 metres.
Manly get the advantage thanks to the wind.
The forehand into the stack. It's read and caught well by House. Safe as houses, some might say. She's 2 metres out. Her offensive teammates living up to the opposition in terms of the amount of chaos that they're producing. Cuts going all over the place. No one with any kind of isolation or space to work in.
Sorensen, a key handler for Kaos. Will she throw something upwind? She will!
But unable to complete. Shires responds immediately. This point has turned into a bit of throw and cash between Sorensen and Shires. But all of Kaos is getting involved in the fun.
That's the right idea, though. Just huck it out of that danger zone.
As Castleton has her turn at hucking into the wind. No one's been particularly successful, but they're sharing the hucking duties. Whereas Manly seem more committed to letting Nikki Shires do her work. Shires with a very big backhand will continue to try and find options that she likes in the deep space. As the outside in backhand gets tipped by Sorensen. And a layout attempt by the Sublime man on the far side. Thank you for your efforts.
Castleton picking up the disc. She needs to huck it again. She knows what she has to do. Just send it. Spread the field. Just couldn't quite get it. Shires again with the disc. She's looking for an opening, and she gets it!
What a hold! It sunk like a stone out of the hand, but it's well read as she goes to turf, gets 2 hands underneath it and digs it out. That's a great hold by Manly. They continue to show their class as they extend their lead to 5. It's 6-1 here in the final of the Division 2 Australian Ultimate Championships in the women's division. Manly is rewarded for their perseverance and their determination. As we watch the throw from Shires hit its mark.
Straight to Adlad, her fellow dump.
And it looks like it'll be a full substitution as a whole set of fresh legs get back on the field.
That was a really long point, Max. I'd be exhausted if I were them.
Another marathon. There's no quick offense in conditions like these.
Your best bet is to just send it. Send it long, get those meters, gain those meters, play defense down there, pray for a drop, just wait for it. The wind is going to pick up, the wind is going to do something.
That's right, the wind does the hard work of getting you the disc back most of the time. Warman talking to her teammates, giving some direction, inspiring her troops, leading them forward. And Warman continuing her pulling duties. That one will go out the side on the full, so it's a brick. They're allowed to take it to midfield. And this is Sabrina Morrow, the captain of this Kaos outfit, who will bring it in. Marked by Wentworth. And we have a pick downfield. The front double bicep signal will indicate that a defender was impeded in their movement by another player of either team. They'll be allowed to catch up and then play will restart. And that one through the hands and then off the chest. Warman hustles to it. She's marked by the much shorter Delate as Warman's forehand not able to find O'Brien. And they'll examine the disc, see if it's up to scratch. Looks like they're happy with it. They'll throw it back and forth a couple of times.
That was some pretty good throws right there.
Yeah,
we haven't seen things like that before in this game.
Yeah, completing passes, not something we've seen a lot of. And that one, almost.
Almost completed.
Warman sniffs an opportunity and takes it, or looks to take it, and sends it out the back. Not able to keep that one down to this scale.
We've hit the 70-minute mark, Max. It's incredible that we've actually made it this far into the game. Do you think we're going to hit half-time?
I'm just going to put it out there and say no.
Yeah, I think it's a safe bet.
Though it is worth noting that the time cap has been extended to reflect the stoppage earlier when the tournament organising committee got involved to have a chat. So some additional minutes will have been added. Our game advisors will be in charge of ensuring the new correct time cap is called. So while they've been playing for 70 minutes, time cap will be at a little later than the typical 80. As Warman again picks up, initiates movement to Sarah Wentworth. Does a bit of a curly slowdown there. Yeah, there'll be a travel call on that one. And I don't blame Morrow for that call. And it will come back. There'll be some discussion on whether it affected, and I think they'll agree that it may not have. No one else was aware that it had been called except for Morrow and Wentworth.
It looked like good offense, though. They were moving really quickly, getting some shots off.
Yeah, absolutely no hesitation when the disc entered the hand between that time and when it left again.
The risk to move so quickly is that you don't actually establish a pivot foot. which is when you can get called up for a travel.
The requirement is that when you catch the disc, you have to slow down as fast as you can in a straight line. And I imagine the call there on Wentworth was that she'd slow down, but in a curve.
That was a good pickup from Barnden on Kaos.
Oh, and through the hands. Here we go. The disc, just a couple of inches out, it'll be picked up by O'Brien. She senses the importance of this chance. She tries the little blade over the top, but it's too short for Eva Strachan, despite her best efforts, as she goes horizontal. Strachan now on the mark as Kaos move it to this high side into the hands of Barnden. Oh, and a hand block! Laney Toke snaffles that one up, and Warman will find Wentworth. Responds ruthlessly efficient with the disc in their hands that time. Manly is. And they jump out to 7-1. Hillary, I may have to revise my prediction that we won't reach half-time.
We could well and truly see halftime in the next point. But I believe these Kaos ladies, they're running out there to get on the line. If I were you, would you be calling a timeout, saying, let's just see what happens? The wind's died down. Maybe you want to continue playing.
I don't think the timeout would be my tactical decision. The players on the sideline have had enough of a break. You know you're going to have plenty of fresh legs to come on. Often, actually, it's a challenge to stay engaged and stay physically warm when the points are this long and you're standing on the sideline. So, no hesitation, and they'll be keen to keep going. But as you said, their body language was positive. They've clearly still got intent, and they're still keen to keep playing despite the difficult sideline position that they're in, scoreline position that they're in. It's 7-1 now.
Kaos has a big lineup. They have lots of people to sub on. We just see Jessica Ho calling the line. She's been a crucial member for this team. In that previous game, she got heaps of head-up intercepts, clear as day. It was like the opposing teams were just throwing directly to her. We'll see what she can do now. They're going out in offense. We know it'll be a man offense. We know they won't be putting on a zone.
That's right. It's single coverage all the way. Been a captain's agreement to that effect. As we see Harriet Peel working hard on defense for Manly, clearly trying to make the most of her opportunities on the field. And Strachan falls to the floor. Not sure why, but she had a roll around and enjoyed it. Warman picking up the disc. Peel looking to generate. She cuts deep. Sorensen fades off the back of the stack to help.
Kaos have an opportunity to close this gap. They call it a pick. We see Kaos shooting down into the end zone. Can't quite get it. The connection not just there.
Seen a fair few picks this game. Probably a result of the switch to single coverage and therefore vertical offense from both teams, combined with the difficulty of cutting deep and the temptation to crowd the disc in conditions like this, meaning there's a lot of players in not a large area.
Max, it's tricky to stop picks from happening, but is it easier if you're in offense or defense to stop a pick?
Well, I mean, a pick can only be called by the defense, of course. And generally speaking, stoppage of play advantages the defense. So really, it's on the offense to play in a way that doesn't make picks likely. That means being clean in your cuts, being decisive about them so that everyone knows where you're going, and being disciplined in clearing out. There's a turnover there on Wentworth. Thinks about picking it up, but instead goes to the end zone as she knows Warman's not far behind. Warman shoots the forehand, but Wentworth had gone too far.
But that's all right. Kaos now have to bring the disc up the full length of the field. I would just huck it if I were them. I would post that disc, mail it off,
And Wentworth's mark proves too much. Too much for Delate to handle, and they respond quickly and decisively as only they can. Hayes sees Wentworth in the end zone.
Wentworth takes the goal for half. We've made it, Max. We've made it to half time.
We made it to half time. It's 8-1. Manly women just showing their class, showing their skill and their pedigree. Doing what the men could not in their semi-final.
Now we're seeing a bit of discussion on field. Are they going to take this half, or are they going to continue playing? I think they will take it.
They will indeed.
Well deserved.
As they take a break and get a drink, so will we. But do stick around. We'll keep you updated on everything that is to come here from the Division 2 Australian Ultimate Championships. And welcome back to the second half of the women's final here at Division 2 Australian Ultimate Championships. They kept the halftime short, and the message is simple. I was able to sneak into the Manly huddle briefly. I heard them say more of the same, and let's step up the D. Let's close this out. Let's get the job done. The time on our stream is at 81 minutes. I know they added a few extra minutes to account for the stoppage early in the game when the tournament organising committee got involved. But without a doubt, they're closing in on the end. The end is in sight, and the gold is waiting for the winner. Manly in a commanding position with everything to play for. The forehand down this near sideline puts the disc in the hands of Bowen. And she goes to Sorensen, the lefty. Been so crucial for this Kaos offense this match. Early in the game, the teams made a captain's agreement to only play single coverage defense in the interests of the safety of the cup. And we were just saying that the wind had died down a touch, but it's picking back up as Morrow throws the low backhand into the wind. And gets it straight back. Shy's not able to contain her entirely. Morrow finds the easy score.
The goal! That's all they wanted!
Sarah Ann Lynn somehow open. No one could contain her. She was in the smallest of gaps, yet totally unstopped. She gets the goal, and Kaos take it to 2. I know, I was excited. Hill, you were incredibly excited.
Max, I got a little bit too excited just then.
No, definitely not.
That didn't feel like the second goal for Kaos. That felt like the 100th goal for Kaos. They've been playing all weekend. I just had a quick chat to Jessica Ho. I was asking her what they were saying out there. We just saw exactly what she just asked her team to do. She said, let's just play our offense. The wind is dying down a little bit. We can actually pass a few things around now, do the short throws. We have to play man. We can't put out the zone, so let's just go out there and have fun. But interestingly, she said, there's every game, every tournament, we put something new on our shirts. And surprisingly, on their shirts and the inside of their shirts, they've actually written, "Wind is a gift."
Wind is a gift that keeps on giving this game, that's for sure. I'm not sure who's been receiving the gift. But Sorensen will make this pull.
The challenge is you can't complain about the wind any more than we already have. Teams just have to deal with it. They just have to cope with what they've got.
That's right. Both teams obviously playing on the same field in the same conditions, so you can never blame a result on the conditions. The other team had to do it too. And Sorensen, the big lefty, to kick things off. And that one will sail well out. And they'll have... We should take this opportunity to thank our great sponsors, Destination Wollongong, and their new tagline, "You'll be blown away." Quite literally, for us today, we've lost our tent. Our chairs didn't stay standing upright. We've barely stood standing upright at times. Our pole cam is literally being tied to the turf to keep it from falling over. As Manly have the disc, go with the high release backhand, but
really tight
Delate
defense
can't.
from Kaos there.
So that was the horn, which means time cap has gone, which means we will finish this point. We will add 1 to the team with the highest score, and that will be our new target. If Manly score this, it'll be a game to 10, and if Kaos can put this one in the end zone and go 2 in a row, it'll be a game to 9. Either way, you'd have to say Manly are in a very commanding position with all the work to be done by Kaos, and they find Wentworth after a great hold on the huck to
Wentworth
Ralph.
just waiting for her players to come down.
She looks back, goes to Warman on the inside. Warman fakes the inside backhand, goes the high release across the face to Hayes, but it's a little too high and a little too far, and she can't haul it in. Warman has been so solid for this team all day. She's anchored this offense, provided drive and forward movement. As Sorensen has done the same for Kaos. Delate being marked by Wentworth. Will have to work hard. You see plenty of Manly players looking to sag off their players in the stack, recognising that poaching is a very good option in these conditions. It's difficult to throw
Kaos just asking Manly to adjust because they shouldn't be playing a zone. They'd already agreed not to. And it looked like they had gone out into a zone defense. Bit of an aggressive mark there from Kaos.
Little confusion as to who's the dump and who's cutting for it. In the end, it is resolved as Adlard finds Warman. She goes back to Hayes. 3 or 4 cutters in a very small space. Makes it difficult for a clear option to open up. And there will be some discussion. I believe there was a pick. Byproduct of that chaos. Play resumes. Hayes to Wentworth in the dump space. Wentworth having to attack that one and make the catch under pressure. She finds a player in the front corner. She hits her. It's Catherine Adlard. And that'll take it to 9-2. It's a game to 10. Manly women looking to continue their long and storied history of success. They were a force in the early 2000s and they're back.
They're back, bringing the force.
They are indeed.
Competing against the wind. They said, it's not us versus the team, it's us versus the wind. We're not going to beat her, but we just got to play with her. You just got to work with the wind, work with what you've got, and that's what we've done. That's what they've done out there today. We see fabulous ultimate in very harsh conditions.
In what could be the last point of this match, Di Warman wanders onto the field one more time. She's been the rock for this Manly team. She's the captain, she's the leader, both spiritually and emotionally and tactically. She does everything for them. You can see her marshalling her troops potentially one last time.
What do you think she's saying, Max?
Well, in their halftime huddle, they just said, let's just step out our D, let's close this game out. Just keep running hard and that intensity will bring the rewards with it. Know that it's going to be scrappy, embrace that. Embrace the hard work that these conditions bring.
Oh no, and Kaos just throw it a little bit too high and the wind just picks it up and sends it out. Could this be the moment that the game ends?
You feel like we could stand on the very edge of a championship as Warman picks up the disc. She could be one throw away from being a Div 2 champion. Shires goes up the line. What better way to crown the victory as Di Warman to Nikki Shires and Manly are the Division 2 champions. They have the gold. They have the glory. Kaos just outclassed in the final. 10-2. They had no answer. The wind proved too much. The opposition's quality proved too much. And in the end, Kaos was unsuccessful and Manly were the champions. And that was all she wrote on this game and on this tournament. It's been a hell of a weekend. Manly barely troubled the whole weekend long. They won their semi 15-0. They win the final 10-2. Emphatic in their victory. And with that, we will say goodbye from Division 2 Australian Ultimate Championships. We've been down here in Wollongong. Thank you for joining us on this Ultimate Australia live stream. I've been Max Stenstrom. I've been joined in the booth all weekend by Hilary Humes and Daniel Clinton. Come back, enjoy the coverage in 2 weeks for Division 1. Thank you and goodbye.
Alti.tv